All right, everybody. Welcome to the first and inaugural episode of The Rear Naked Truth with your boy Nedim and your boy Brandon.
Hey, yo.
I want y'all to know we're out here risking life and limb to come to Tap City Studios and record this session for you guys. Michigan decided that spring was going to be last Thursday, and it was going to last for all of a day. And now we got hit with a little mini snowmageddon. I ended up sliding into almost about 5 ditches on the way here. So, we're really putting it all on the line for Nedim Steady to get y'all MMA ready and to really inform y'all about what's going on in this world of MMA, this increasingly crazy world of MMA lately. The heartbeat.
I think it's a good time for us to... I wish we could have started it a little while back when McGregor decided to take on the bus. That was like prime time, but
but we're gonna get into that. There's gonna be a wide-ranging host of topics here that we're gonna get into. And like I said, I think it's a really exciting time for MMA. Obviously, the UFC was going through a little bit of a lull there, where they didn't really have any bona fide stars there for a minute. There weren't really any exciting prospects. Conor hadn't fought in the UFC since back in 2016. Then he did his fight against Floyd, and then he just kind of dropped off the map. You had Jon Jones fucking up as usual, so he's not really a prospect.
Pills, bro. Dick pills.
Yeah, that's right. Dick pills. Shout out to Canelo as well on the dick pills.
Tainted meat, he said.
Yeah, whatever the case may be. Shout out to Triple G as well. That's my fellow Eastern European, my man. I don't know if they've got him a new opponent for Cinco de Mayo yet, but I hope that they do. That man deserves to massacre somebody on Cinco de Mayo. Shout out to Gennady.
Brian Ortega said that he would fight Triple G. He said he would step in and cross over to the boxing world, but I think he'd get ate up.
And shout out to T City. He's obviously proven to be a pretty exciting prospect over here in the UFC, and we'll get into that a little bit later as well.
Hey, hold on a second. Did you even tell him the name of this show yet?
Fam, the show is The Rear Naked Truth.
You said that though?
I did.
Okay, I was just making sure. I just want to make sure people know.
Fam, I'm not lying to you. I ain't gonna lie to you on a show called The Rear Naked Truth.
Okay, I just want to get that plug in there one more time. Good job.
I ain't never told no lie, fam. Come on now. So like I said, T City super game in MMA and everything, but I think he's getting ahead of himself real bad by saying he's gonna step into a boxing ring with Gennady Golovkin, who is an absolute animal.
Savage. People just want the payday now, but yeah.
They do, and it makes sense. I mean, the formula has been put out there. McGregor and Mayweather came up with the formula, came up with a huge payday to the point where nobody even knew if McGregor was going to come back and fight in the UFC. It almost didn't make a financial sense. But, first things first. There was a card last night, a nice little UFC on Fox card, and I think it was a real good value for the money card, i.e., you ain't had to spend no money, and you got a lot of value out of it. Obviously, a couple of real exciting fights. A little bit of a disappointment for one of our old favorites. And, it may or may not be time for him to ride off into the sunset, as painful as that is to say.
Well, hold on. Before we get there, we got to do a quick shout out to somebody that was on the undercard. We have my man Antonio Carlos Jr. sinking the rear naked choke on Tim Bosch. So we like to give a special shout out to Antonio Carlos Jr. for locking that in. That was pretty dope.
Yeah, and while we're on the shout outs for the rear naked chokes, because obviously that is our finish of choice.
Yes.
Obviously, for obvious reasons. While we're on that subject, we got Baby Slice in Bellator.
What?
Finishing his fight by rear naked choke as well.
Daddy Slice never did that, did he? He never rear naked choked nobody.
No, I think Daddy Slice was obviously stay in the pocket and slice at guys with the lefts and the rights,
And that, okay.
And that, yeah.
So a couple other fights I really liked from last night. Flyweight, I really like John Moraga and Wilson Hayes. who trains with Dominic Cruz. That was a really good fight, really technical. Jon eked it out on the decision. I won't say eked it out, but it was unanimous. He was really rangy. He was quick. I really like the flyweights, man. They're fun to watch. I know there's not a lot of big names out there, and DJ's just been dominating everybody. But just like with UFC, when you think it's a lull, and man, who's gonna be the next star? And you look at all the dominant champs like Anderson Silva and Jose Aldo, and then all of a sudden someone like Conor McGregor comes along, or Chris Weidman, and they're just that person's kryptonite. So
that's kind of a running theme you're gonna experience here in the show. Brandon gets into the lighter weight classes a little bit more than I do. I tend to not pay a whole lot of attention once you get down below about 145 pounds. With the rare exception of these fights between Dillashaw and No Love.
Yeah.
Just because of the bad blood there. Just because fuck Team Alpha Male.
Hey, now.
So that's one rare exception. But honestly, as we get into the analysis of things, you're going to find that Brandon's going to be doing a little bit more of the analysis on the lighter weight classes, whereas I like to stay, heavyweight, light heavyweight, welterweight.
Oh, I like all of them. I like them all. I'll get in on the heavyweight stuff, and I like the 135ers too. That's a fun class, and I'm Team Alpha Male to a point. I can see where you don't like them because they are kind of the college, dude bros.
They're just the dude bro frat boys of the sport, and I'm not feeling it. Cody No Love is 300,000% covered in tattoos.
What's wrong with tattoos, man?
You know what, man? There's nothing wrong with tattoos themselves, man. But, everything in moderation, I prefer to keep it subtle, imagine if the guy ain't making an MMA. You know what I mean? He was putting all his eggs in one basket. Imagine
he
him
ain't getting no 9 to 5.
Yeah, imagine him trying to walk into a job interview like, yeah, I'd like to be, middle management at your fine company here, or whatever the case may be,
At Farmers Insurance.
Yeah, shout out to Farmers Insurance, the most expensive insurance company in the area and all that.
Hey, I don't want to do no insurance commercials now, but yeah. Another good fight that I was looking forward to was Michelle Watterson and Courtney Casey, Karate Hottie. She edged that one out. It was a really tough fight for her. I like her, man. She's she fought Paige Van Zandt. She's fought some people, and she's kind of edging up to, getting up there to challenge for a title possibly soon, So I think she's on the right track. And then another one on the main card was Israel Adesanya. This dude looks promising. He's a little his out of ring, out of the octagon antics are a little weird, but he's the guy that he fought someone the last time I remember, and he said, "Yeah, I'm putting you all on notice. I just pissed all over the cage."
And I think too, the hype around this kid Adesanya, there are some similarities there in the ranginess and the unorthodox striking with Jon Jones.
Yeah, I think he got that comparison, and I think he didn't like it. He's like, "Yeah, I don't like it." Which, for obvious reasons, right now, I mean,
absolutely. I mean, for
Bones
obvious reasons,
is kind of tainted.
You got Bones outside the cage with the dick pills and what have you. But I think at the end of the day, as far as your in-cage performances go, to be, compared to somebody like Jon Bones Jones is a hell of a compliment.
Yeah.
I mean, everything else aside, obviously the guy's got, some demons that he's never quite been able to sprint away from. But in the cage, when you're talking about somebody as the next Jon Bones Jones, I mean, that's a promising little line there that you got going for
sure. You. Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, he's kind of a character. I was watching his post-fight interviews last night, and he was talking about walking out and basically said, "Fuck the fans." Like, legitimately said, "Fuck the fans. They don't know anything about a fight. All they want is blood, blood, blood." And I know there's fans out there like that, and I'm not gonna lie to you, and you'll probably agree. You like those bloody fights, when you think of those wars, those are fun. But I think you and I can also appreciate the technical aspect of fighting as well.
I mean, it's just a question of what kind of viewer are you. You know, the most casual viewers, you know, shout out to our fans who are the most casual viewers, which is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, that is one side of the game, and those people are gonna, you know, they want to see the blood. They want to see two guys stand in the pocket and just fucking throw bombs at each other. But the flip side of that is, if you make a career out of doing that, you know, shout out Cassius Clay. If you make a career out of doing that, you're gonna end up 40 years old with Parkinson's, not being able to
serious
know
brain damage,
where you're at, or what you're doing with your life. Serious brain damage, man. You literally got your brain just flying from one side of your skull to the other.
Well, I think that's a good transition because, and we're skipping over one, and I want to make sure to come back to the fight that absolutely gutted me. And Nedim, you know what I'm talking about when I say that, but let's not get into that. But I think the brain damage and topic is a perfect transition to the main event from last night, because that was an absolute barn burner. Like
I think that fight, you know, gave the casual fans. I think that fight gave any type.
They
of
were
fans
bloody as hell.
Whatever they wanted to see, exactly what they wanted.
Great
to see.
fight, great fight.
Two game strikers standing, trading a little bit of the sweet science, you know, because Dustin Poirier does have that you know, decently technical boxing.
He's sharp. He looked really sharp last night. I think Justin Gaethje him and his team had a great team game plan with the leg kicks. They were fucking my boy's legs up, and he thought he was gonna go because Poirier was saying he watched the tape from when Gaethje fought Michael Johnson, and he was doing a lot of outside leg kicks. Well, he switched it up and he started fucking up the inside, and it was starting to wear on Poirier. Like, you know, 2-3 rounds in, and he even said it himself. Had it gone another round, those kicks might have been taking him off his feet.
Well, and he's definitely going to feel that for the next week or two.
Yeah, he ain't walking
around ain't going to be, you know what I mean? He's going to send the wife to get the groceries and so on and so forth.
Absolutely. But no, Justin Gaethje, I think it's important to bring that up because I feel like that fight that we watched last night is pretty similar to most of his fights. Like he gets, even though he lost, I feel like he gets better when he gets hit a bunch of times. And he said it last night, and I'm glad he said it because even Dustin Poirier said it leading up to the fight that Justin Gaethje's fight style is not something he can make a career out of. Like, you can't have 5, 6, 7, 8 of these fights in a row and just get beat to hell and take all these punches to the head. And Gaethje, you know, said last night he's got five fights left in him. That's it. After that, he's done. And I think that's so smart. I think we're starting to hopefully see a turn of these fighters, as much as I hate to see some of them go. But honestly, man, it's their livelihood. They have to spend their rest of their days talking really slow to their kids, maybe not being able to do stuff with their kids because they're so, you know, banged up. So I applaud any of these fighters that realize that and take a bow, say, hey, I'm done getting punched in the head for a living.
Absolutely. But, you know, and that's an interesting point too. I think these fighters are learning, you know, that the window should be relatively small. That you shouldn't be trying to do this for, you know, 15 years, year in, year out, this hard, grueling training.
Unless you take PEDs.
Right. Or
like
unless
Vitor.
unless you're Cowboy Cerrone and you just don't give a fuck. And I can call you today to go fight tomorrow, you know.
And you're getting drunk off your Budweiser and jet skiing and rock climbing and doing all this dangerous ass shit. But no, the main event was a great fight, and I'm glad to hear Gaethje is conscious of that at least. But yeah, Poirier poured it on him. He looked really sharp. And then at the end there, you saw it. He called out Khabib. He said, you know what? I put in my time. I've gotten close, you know, to fighting for the belt. He fought Conor, and that was kind of a title eliminator back then. Conor knocked him out. I've always liked Poirier. I like his swag. I like his fight style. You know, he's game.
And fortunately for him, the call out seems to have worked, because we got Dana White on Bloody Elbow saying, you know, coming on the record saying, yeah, you know, it's definitely a possibility that Poirier is what's next for Khabib.
I feel sorry for these fighters, though, man. Like, I hear this shit, and it's like, I hope no one gets excited when Dana White says anything anymore. Because it's like, that dude has said so many, like, oh, for sure, he's definitely getting a title shot. And then some random ass fight happens that's not even in the same weight class or whatever. Like, dude is all about his money fights too. So don't hold your breath, Dustin Poirier. But I would love to see that fight. What do you think? What do you think happens in that fight?
I mean,
Poirier and Khabib.
Honestly, looking at Poirier Khabib as a fight, obviously Poirier is a very exciting fighter, but he's also a little bit, and I hate to say it, I hate to use terms like this for these guys that put in their life, blood, sweat, and tears training for this, but Dustin Poirier is a little bit of a one-dimensional fighter.
Yeah.
And I think that he is a bad stylistic matchup versus Khabib.
I mean, I think he has decent wrestling. Like, he's showcased it sometimes, but I think you're right. Like, it's not on the same level as Khabib. Even, like, Iaquinta, just that fight. Iaquinta's a good wrestler.
Yeah.
And Khabib made him look like an amateur in that fight. So, yeah, I don't really like his chances too much in that fight. And before we get off on a rant
and you look at the Iaquinta fight, Khabib and Iaquinta, obviously. Yeah. And Iaquinta did start having a little bit success towards the end of the fight with not allowing Khabib to get into range and take him down and pound him on the ground and so on and so forth. But really, ultimately, if Khabib can just get you down once or twice throughout the entire fight, that is the story. That's it. That's what's going to happen. You're going to go to the ground. Khabib gets you. He pins you down. He becomes 2 times as heavy as he actually is when he's on top of you.
He becomes a bear.
He becomes a bear. He becomes a lake.
Like the ones he trains with.
That's right. Shout out to the bear that fought Khabib when he was
Poor
a little
bear.
kid.
Poor bear.
Yeah. We got the eagle versus the bear, and the eagle seems to have done pretty well there.
Yeah.
But
No, hold up. So, okay, before we get off onto Khabib, because that's definitely something I want to talk about too. Last thing about last night's fights, Carlos Condit and the other cowboy, Alex Oliveira. Yeah. I like Alex Oliveira. Like, he's a good fighter. I actually went to UFC Detroit back when he fought Yancey, dude from Hawaii, and that was a crazy ass fight too. But I was so excited to see Condit come back, and I was like, man, I know he was supposed to fight Matt Brown. Matt Brown got injured, but when they booked that fight, Matt Brown and Carlos Condit, I was kind of like, because, I mean, I know it'd be a good fight, but the reason I kind of made that noise or that face was like, dude, Matt Brown just said he was going to retire, and now he's fighting Carlos Condit. What does that say for Carlos Condit? And I hate to say it, but dude's been around for a minute, you know?
I mean, and I think that's where we're at. Yeah. Carlos Condit, natural born killer. I think he's a face as far as fighters go in this organization. He's a guy that everybody can kind of, he's real likable. Yeah. He's never done anything too, controversial, too heinous. He's about his business. He loves to fight. But unfortunately, the way things have been shaken out for him with the injuries, with fights being called off and so on and so forth, I think we're at a point, and I really do hate to say it, but I think it's time for Carlos Condit to ride off into the sunset.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think you're right, man. Like, and he said in his last fight, the last fight he had was with Neil Magny, and he said, he wasn't all there for it. He wasn't fully invested in it. And, I always say it with anything, man. Like, if you're not fully invested in it and it's not fun to you anymore, you can do something you love for a job, right? And I don't want to sound like the pessimist, but you can do something you love for a job, but the minute it starts becoming a job and you start dreading some of the aspects of it, like, imagine what these dudes go through. Like, these training camps are hell. Getting punched in the face, getting choked out in front of millions of people. Like, you have people out here that are scared to talk in front of 10 people, and then these guys are going out getting their asses beat in front of 10 million people. Like, I think Condit has done plenty enough in the sport. He's a legend. He'll go down as a legend in my book.
Absolutely.
And
but if you really look at it, for example, his last 10 fights, he's lost 7 of his last 10
that's rough.
Fights. That's a little bit of a sign.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think the turning point really came, the tipping point really came in the fight against Robbie Lawler, where he lost the split decision.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a hell of a fight. A hell of a slugfest.
Really good fight.
Super good fight. But unfortunately, he came out on the wrong end of a split decision. Mm-hmm. After that, he dropped another 3 fights.
Somewhere he fought with Tyron Woodley, and that's when he fucked his knee up, and he was out for a long time, and there was like no fights. And
Yep, he fought Tyron Woodley back in March of 2014.
Wow.
Lost that fight to Woodley, obviously, because of the knee injury.
Yeah.
Didn't fight after that for just about 14 months until he fought Thiago Alves at a fight night event. They were the main event at UFC Fight Night, Condit versus Alves, back in May of 2015. And he actually did win that fight via TKO, doctor stoppage.
Stoppage.
I assume by, nice little cut he opened up with an elbow on Thiago Alves or whatever the case may be.
Right.
There was a doctor stoppage, but after that, he dropped 4 fights after the Alves fight. He dropped, obviously, the classic, instant classic against Robbie Lawler.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the more brutal, just violence fests that I've seen. And obviously, Robbie Lawler tends to be in some of those. You know, he had one with Rory McDonald, if you'll remember. And then, Condit drops the next fight against Damian Maia via rear naked choke.
Nice.
That's right. Shout out Damian Maia with the
You know what? And
choke.
I don't. That's so funny. I was thinking of that fight as soon as you were kind of going through his list there and of fights, and I hated that fight. I hated it. I don't like Damian Maia's style, and I understand. He's jiu-jitsu, and I know you and I butt heads.
Shout out to the jiu-jitsu players.
Absolutely.
I am a jiu-jitsu player myself. I train on and off.
But this is not jiu-jitsu. This is mixed martial arts. So these people that, and I know we're going to butt heads right here because I'm going to call out your boy Verdum. I hate it when dudes like go on their back and they're like doing this butt walk.
Shout out to Vi Cavallo, Fabricio Verdum with the butt scoots.
With the butt scoots and trying to get people to come down. It's like, dude, come on. Get up. Take this ass whooping like a man. Do what you're going to do. Get me on the ground if you want to submit me. Take me down. That's what you got to do.
You know what, though, to be fair and to his credit, Fabricio Verdum over the years did really improve his stand-up.
Oh, his stand-up got really good. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
He did improve until he ran into Stipe Miocic.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you look back at the Stipe fight, there was no butt scooting there. There was
an
attempted slugfest
absolutely
on Verdum's part, and Stipe he was on another level.
Yep.
Verdum is never going to have the level of boxing and stand-up acumen as a guy like Stipe Miocic.
No.
But, to get back on topic as far as Condit goes, like I said, lost the slugfest to Lawler, lost via rear naked choke, shout out Damian Maia, lost a unanimous decision to Neil Magny.
Yep, that was that fight.
I honestly don't remember too much about that fight.
Yeah, I watched it. It wasn't good. Like he didn't look like he was all there. Like he wasn't invested in it. And Magny's a young kid. He was up and comer. And was that unanimous decision or how did he lose that?
That was a unanimous decision against Neil Magny. Obviously a 3-round fight in Vegas. Unanimous decision for Neil Magny. And then obviously this latest fight last night against Alex Oliveira, the Brazilian cowboy, however you want to refer to him. I'm seeing comments from the cowboy on one of these sites that obviously he had him in the guillotine. And Oliveira is claiming that Condit actually went to sleep
before he
woke up, and then tapped.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which has got to be traumatic.
It was and I don't blame the ref. I think Herb Dean was doing that one. It was a weird angle, and it didn't even look like he had it in. And even like the commentators were surprised that he pulled it off because it takes a lot of strength to do the guillotine that he had on Condit. It wasn't. He was on top of him. It was just a weird angle. And then you see Condit's I think his right arm came out. So I thought he was good, and then all of a sudden that same arm that came out, you do see it kind of go limp, and then he kind of lightly taps and then taps a little bit harder. So I think he did kind of like phase out a little bit, came back to and tapped out. But it was a crazy fight, man. Those dudes both gave their all. They were both bloody as hell. The Brazilian cowboy went off celebrating and then quickly collapsed, and his face was just a bloody mess too. So Conor still got it, but it's
and if you look at it to a certain extent, Conor's not terribly old. He's 33.
Yeah.
Shout out to my co-host Brandon here.
Shut your damn face.
Who's also about to turn 33.
Yeah. I don't look it though.
I mean, we gonna let the viewers decide when this comes out on video.
I got a face for radio.
Yeah. Sure.
I got a face for podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, buddy.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
So, if you look at it, he's not terribly old, but I think he's been on the wrong end of one too many slugfests. I think he's been on the wrong end of one too many submissions, one of which last night, the guy allows himself to pass out and then wake up and tap. I mean,
I think another thing.
Imagine if he hadn't woken up and Oliveira's over here clueless.
Right.
Imagine what that could have led to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think another thing, too, that might be working against Conor is these long breaks. You know what I mean? Because anything that when I used to do music, I would take long breaks. And coming back to it, like, yeah, there's an element of, like, excitement to it. But then there's also, like, so much anxiety. And I'm not trying to relate music to fighting because I know they're two different things. And I love Donald Cerrone's like explanations of all the feelings and emotions that run through you leading up to the fight, the night of the fight, after the fight. So, taking those long kind of hiatuses that Conor's been unfortunately taking these last few years, I think that could maybe change. He's spending time with his wife and kids and doing different stuff and maybe jumping into some different business ventures, setting up, what's next after this fight game. And maybe that's kind of taking its toll on him too, and he's just like, hey, I don't find it fun anymore. Maybe, and there's been numerous times after that Maia fight, I remember him saying, maybe I don't deserve to be in here with these guys, and it sucks to hear, him say that because I love the dude. He's such a great fighter.
It's gonna be, when that day comes, it's gonna be a heartbreak for all of us. Condit is a good guy. He's a great fighter. He's always been game. He's always been game for a good slugfest, a good whatever. He's got the heart. He's got the heart out of this world, and I think he proved that last night by allowing himself to go unconscious and limp before he would even tap.
Right.
So I think obviously Carlos Condit has the heart of a lion, but I think, like I said, losing 7 out of your last 10 fights is a little bit of a sign that
maybe it's time to hang him up.
Maybe it's time to ride off into the sunset. He seems like a fairly intelligent enough guy. I have confidence that. He can figure out some other ventures after MMA.
Oh, yeah. He probably already is into doing some stuff. I'm pretty sure I followed him, and I think he's got some endorsement deals and stuff like that. But I'm sure he does. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He, like you said, he's never been in any controversy or anything like that. So I'm sure he's already thinking about that, or he's already thought about it, and he's executing the plan now. But so yeah, that card last night, not bad. And you know what? I like I'll say I like UFC's on Fox for a couple reasons. Obviously, as you mentioned, the price, right? So
the price can't be beat.
You can't beat that price. You can't beat that price. And then the other thing is they end a little bit earlier, so you don't have to. Me, I'm an old man now, as you say. Right. And sometimes it's hard. 1, 2 o'clock.
Shout out to the geriatrics.
Geriatrics. I like to drink my Metamucil and go to sleep. You know what I mean? So I like that they end a little bit earlier on in the night.
And obviously, there's UFC on Fox cards that are snooze fests. They are what they're supposed to be. They're kind of the off-brand UFC event, the little filler, the something to throw on the calendar. But then you get cards that come along like last night with classic slugfests, with
some finishes, some strong finishes.
Yeah. And you really feel like you got your value for your money or lack thereof.
Absolutely. So that was a good card. I liked it. Like I said earlier, I love how this whole podcast thing came together, man. Like I just said, hey, I always wanted to do a podcast. We were texting back and forth, and I think we were talking about the fights that happened, whatever. And it just kind of happened. It just like organically happened.
Well, and I think, and as these continue to go, the viewers and the listeners will be able to see. I think the key part of it is we don't necessarily agree on everything.
No.
You know what I mean? I'm fuck Team Alpha Male, and
yeah,
you're over here supporting Team Alpha Male.
I'm riding the fence a little bit. I'm kind of Dillashaw my way with Team Alpha Male.
Yeah, and then Jon Bones Jones, I think he's a royal fuck up. I think he could have been the greatest thing.
I will not disagree with you there.
I think he could have been the greatest thing that happened to the sport if he could have got out of his own damn way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you like to try to defend him a little bit more.
A little bit. I do. I don't know why, because it's just like he, time after time, just fucks me over again. And I don't know. I think it's kind of like one of those weird things where you almost just have to separate their personal life. And unfortunately for him, now it's going to be hard, because now this is twice he's gotten popped or accused of taking some type of supplements. If it was one time, okay, cool. Fool me once, shame on you. But, that's twice now. And then all the other shit that's came up, just crazy, his crazy acting and his kind of trying to be a goody two-shoes, and then behind scenes just being a total fuckboy. It's getting harder and harder to defend him. But if the PED thing hadn't came up, I think people should just separate his personal, the everything else away from it, because inside the octagon, that dude is a fucking savage. He's a beast. He went through a killer's row of light heavyweights to get his belt, to defend it.
But you got to look at it from the perspective of, you can put the personal stuff to the side, and that's fine if you want to. I mean, I still think if you're over here hit and running a pregnant lady,
yeah, that's fucked up.
You shouldn't be allowed to hold any kind of a job,
for sure.
Let alone something so much in the public spotlight and everything. But if you look at it, and what's really interesting to me about the timing of things and how the progression of the UFC itself and how everything came together, Johnny Bones Jones was an absolute wrecking ball until USADA came in.
Mm-hmm.
Now USADA comes in, you have the more strict testing, but since they've come in, he hasn't had a clean test yet.
Yeah.
Twice getting popped for PEDs against Cormier.
Yeah.
And, let's get this out of the way too. While I'm not Bones' biggest fan, I'm not Cormier's biggest fan either, because I think he's got a little bit too much of a holier than thou type of persona and approach.
I didn't like his whole, pitting against Jon Jones and kind of whining to the public. And don't get me wrong, I'm not one of the people making fun of him for crying or anything like that. Like, it's an emotional thing, and it was a fucked up situation, but I didn't like how he was like, oh, look at him, he's and just whining, and it's just like, shut up and say, embrace it. If people don't like you, they don't like you. That's not your job to make people like you. Your job is to go in there and beat his ass.
Fight.
That's it. So do that, and everything else will come in time. Because I'll be honest with you,
he's pretty much proven not to be able to do that, though.
He hasn't. And pads or no pads, whatever. Yes, okay, training and leading up to it, the pads are going to help out. But I think some of that stuff is kind of like, he got kicked in the fucking head. Jon Jones does that. You know what I mean? Like, peds or no peds, you got kicked in the head and knocked out. No man had ever done that to him before. And are these peds really making his strength that much better, or is it just helping, like, recovery? Like, there's all kinds of different supplements.
I think the interesting thing is too, this is a newer development that really added a whole new wrinkle to this whole Jon Jones DC saga to me, and it was almost like, maybe Jon Jones is physically just a bad matchup for DC because he's such a rangy striker and so on and so forth, until the Volkan Ozdemir fight, until DC fought Ozdemir. So you put DC against a different, taller, rangier type striker, and DC dominates him.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that DC has issues
with tall people.
Tall, rangy strikers, per se.
Gustafsson. He beat the shit out of Gustafsson, which that pissed me off, but...
I think Gustafsson beat himself.
He did, yeah.
By trying to dirty box with...
Yeah, why the hell? You're
DC,
like 7 feet tall, dude. Why are you dirty boxing with a 5-foot guy?
Instead of taking advantage of his range. So
yeah.
Gus is... Maybe in the future on another episode we can get into Alexander Gustafsson.
Anyways, we both kind of can easily go off on tangents,
Absolutely.
but my thing was talking about when we decided to start this podcast, we were both kind of kicking ourselves in the ass because we literally just missed the whole Conor McGregor debacle. Holy shit! We
just missed it. But at the same time,
it's still kind of relevant.
It's playing out.
I don't give a shit. I'm talking about it.
And it's going to be relevant here for a while.
Absolutely.
For a good little while. So obviously, quick recap of the whole McGregor situation for those of y'all, of our fans that,
are living under a fucking rock.
Or your kids got too many demands lately. Or your wife got too many demands lately. Or I don't know what the case may be. Shout out to everybody in the different stages of life and all that. But, so Conor McGregor, or rather, I guess, Khabib and Artem Lobov, who is Conor's teammate.
Mm-hmm.
Artem Lobov gave some kind of interview with I don't know who, where he was talking all kinds of smack about Khabib Nurmagomedov. And so, obviously, at the Fighter Hotel there, for UFC 223, Khabib and his gang decides to corner his fellow Russian Artem Lobov and...
Hey, buddy,
listen, this no joke.
You not talk shit to me.
And all that. Shout out to all my Eastern Europeans. Obviously Eastern European.
If you didn't know.
If you haven't.
With a name like Nedim, you have to be something.
You gotta be some shit.
You gotta be something.
But, and I think Khabib might have smacked him at some point or something.
There was some type of altercation. You got to think that kind of shit happens. That's normal, right? You got dudes cutting weight, people talk, and then, you're hangry. You see the dude that was talking shit. You're in the fight business. You go up to him and be like, why are you talking shit?
Just like that. And, and that happened. And quite obviously, Conor McGregor took offense to that. How bad of offense did he take? Well, it went a little bit of something like this. He took such offense that he decided to hop on a plane, not just by himself.
No.
But he decided to bring 20 or 30 other
goon
motherfuckers.
Squad.
The Goon Squad.
The Goon Squad.
Across the fucking pond.
Yeah.
To Brooklyn, New York.
Just a quick hop over.
Yeah. Quick hop and a skip.
Yeah.
And he comes to the event, and these Mac Life motherfuckers, man.
Uh-huh.
And this is why, the UFC and, these arenas shouldn't just be given fucking press credentials to
anybody.
Dang buddy.
Yeah.
All right? They gave these press credentials to these Mac Life guys, and what the fuck do these Mac Life guys do?
They let him in.
They sneak Conor McGregor and all of his goons.
And like for those dudes, like, what are you supposed to do? Your boss is texting you right now. You're doing media coverage for the event, thinking you're just gonna post some shit on MacLife.com, and then your boss texts you like, "Bro, we're here. Let us in."
Side note: if the UFC is trying to decide what to do with those credentials that were formerly owned by the MacLife guys,
hey, there's this new show,
Nedim, Brandon, The Rear Naked Truth.
Hey.
And we ain't letting nobody in anywhere.
Fuck
man.
no.
Fuck that. All right.
You ain't fucking my life up.
So we'll take them passes. My boy Brandon's got a kid.
Yeah.
I've
that's
got
all right.
Shit on the horizon.
You got a dog.
I got a puppy.
They're similar. They both shit and make messes.
They eat and they shit.
Yeah, that's about all they do. Yeah.
So,
we'll take those credentials. Anyways,
shout out to Brandon's son Sandro, who just celebrated his fourth birthday.
Damn. Got me all kinds of messed up today. I feel hungover, but I promise I didn't drink. I just ran around and worked my ass off. But
feel jet lag, but promise he didn't fly.
Serious.
Speaking of flying, back to the topic.
Yeah.
Conor flies over with the goons.
Yes.
His dumbass Mac Life guys let him in. And, all heck breaks loose, family. Conor decides that, fuck the fact that I got a kid at home. Fuck the fact that I got millions of dollars in endorsement deals. Fuck the fact that I'm not even a U.S. citizen. I come over here on a work visa, or whatever the case may be. Fuck all of that. Fuck the fact that I really don't have a problem with anybody else besides Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Khabib. Just Khabib.
Khabib.
Bro, if you can't say his last name being an Eastern European, I'm definitely not going to try that shit out.
Khabib Nurmagomedov.
There we go.
You know what I mean? He decides, him and his goons decide, they're going to throw any type of random whatever the hell.
They were throwing fences,
dollies,
the dolly was the cap. That was the cherry on the top because that fucked that bus up. It went through the window. And like, what's got to be like, dude, and there's speculation, obviously drugs, you know what I mean? Like, but seriously, if it's just a dude that's talking shit to your friend, you're gonna go to those lengths and just start seeing red and start throwing dollies through windows. And like, I watched the video, so like, okay, I saw everything and I'm like, damn, this is nuts. Like, he's wilding the fuck out. And then I didn't see the rest. Then they released, 5-10 other videos. And my man, so he's doing all this, and then he like runs around a corner and he grabs the pole and he swings around it and he's like, woo! Like he's just having a great old time. I'm like, you fucking dumbass, bro. You're about to be 30.
Is it a question of, is this a guy that's on drugs? Coke is a hell of a drug. And maybe that's the answer. Or what's not really being talked about too much is, are we dealing with a guy that got too much,
too big, too quick?
I don't want to say too much handed to him too soon, because he obviously did put in the work.
Absolutely.
But he's a guy who, in the matter of a few short years, went from being on welfare in Ireland, being a failed plumber or whatever the case may be, to
making
getting $100 million
million
off one fight.
Nuts.
So is this a situation where a guy just blew up too big, too quick, and just
thought he was invincible?
Yeah.
Am I using that right? Is it invincible?
Invincible, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I always get those mixed
Absolutely.
up. Okay, good.
As opposed to invisible.
Invisible.
He was not invisible.
He didn't have
we saw that motherfucker
the
doing
invisibility cloak.
Shout out Harry Potter.
Yes.
But
that was nuts. And then
anybody can speculate as to what the motives
what's
were.
Going on, yeah.
Obviously, okay, I understand. You're mad about him punking your boy. All right. So, let's see here.
Yeah. You got some options. What are the options?
You got some options here. For example,
yeah.
Let's just say, let me go way out on a limb here. All right. You're both UFC fighters.
What?
Y'all have been talking about fighting each other
No.
for a fucking grip.
Okay.
You call
so what do they
each other
do?
out constantly. So why not? Let's see here. You're gonna take offense to the fact that this guy smacked your boy.
Yeah.
Why not fight him in the cage and make money?
What? That's preposterous.
Did I just blow everybody's mind?
You blew mine.
How far out on a limb am I here?
I don't know.
Am I about to fall? Is the limb about to snap?
It's about to break.
I don't think so. I think I'm talking here with some common sense.
Yeah.
All right.
You guys are in the fight business. If you all the fighters are saying that, like, bro, if you got a problem with someone, you get paid to punch them in the face. Do it.
And you have this situation where the UFC is talking about going to Russia. All right. What better way?
Oh, that'd be massive.
To go to Russia for the first time than to have a home team fighter who just created some real bad blood with arguably the biggest name in the sport.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of bad blood there. A lot of tension. You got the Eagle home team.
And Conor asked for that. Conor said he wanted Khabib in Russia.
It would have been. It was the perfect storm. But no. Conor decides he's going to take matters into his own hands. His own hands are going to throw some dollies and some partitions and some tables, ladders, and chairs. Shout out WWE.
Right. It seriously looked like something backstage from WWE.
And that's kind of, conspiracy theory that's being thrown around is that this
But bro, there was that whole
that this is just a ploy
to
get hype and blah de da. But you have to understand, this man got taken into
Oh, yeah.
custody.
Legal ramifications.
This man got charged.
Yes.
He got charged with, I believe, 3 counts of misdemeanor assault.
And a felony on
one count of felony criminal mischief.
Yeah. That's a big deal for someone who's not a citizen.
And that's a wrinkle in the whole thing, too, is the fact that Conor McGregor is not a U.S. citizen, and he gets charged with a felony. If he were to get convicted of that felony, he'd have to apply for a waiver through, whoever it is, the Department of Homeland Security or ICE or whatever the case may or may not be. I don't know. I'm a citizen. Shout out to ICE. Yeah. I don't give a damn. You know what I mean? I got my papers the right way. But shout out to the illegals that are struggling to get their papers.
The dreamers. The dreamers.
That's right.
Shout out to the dreamers for real.
Shout out to the dreamers. But yeah, Conor McGregor's going to have to apply for a waiver every time he wants to come to the U.S. They take about a year to fucking contemplate those bitches every single time.
It's just going to be...
And you got a better chance of getting denied than getting approved.
It's going to be a problem.
Now, Conor's got a lot of money. He can probably hire a hell of a good lawyer.
Oh, he has. He brought on like one of the biggest lawyers. So people are like, oh, Conor's just going to get a little slap on the wrist now.
And, from the governmental side of, the actual charges that have been brought up against him, it's quite possible. Him, his good legal team, they go in, they get the felony dropped. He pleads to a couple of misdemeanors, has to do some community service, or whatever the case may or may not be. But those aren't necessarily the only legal ramifications that he's going to have to deal with, because as a matter of fact, like we said, he didn't throw huge physical objects through the windows of a bus that contained only Khabib Nurmagomedov and his guys. There were other people on that bus. Other people like Michael Chiesa, who got real bad cuts and abrasions on his face, had to pull out of his fight. Yeah. And even more critically,
Ray Borg.
We got a guy by the name of Ray Borg, a young guy by the name of Ray Borg, 25 or 26 years old. I'll look that up here in a second. But one of the flying objects.
Oh, he's one of the smaller guys. Just so you know, he's a flyweight, so you probably don't know much about him. That's probably
why I don't know much about him. Like I said, a little bit. I'm a little bit.
He's deficient. Dope though. But he got arm barred by Demetrius Johnson. Demetrius Johnson picked him up, grabbed his arm in midair. Remember that?
He was the one.
He was that highlight reel.
When that happened, every jiu-jitsu player in the world had an orgasm.
They said, "Oh shit!"
Flying armbar.
That was nuts.
Absolutely crazy. Shout out Mighty Mouse.
Obviously, I'm telling you, bro. 125ers is where it's at, man. They're exciting fights when they have good matchups, and DJ's very innovative. Anyway, so yeah, Ray Borg,
25 or 26-year-old kid who, as a result of this incident, now has corneal abrasions. Now, I don't have my MD yet. I don't have my DO. I'm not a medical doctor.
Okay, but talk on it.
But from the sounds of all that,
yeah,
corneal abrasions do have the possibility of seriously and permanently affecting one's vision. And that happens to be one of the things that are key to fighting. Is that you can see the other motherfucker across the cage.
We're worried about eye pokes.
Right.
This dude's got glass shards in his eye.
In his eye, causing corneal abrasion.
And people are like online. I know he dealt with a lot of backlash on that because they showed the embedded episode, and right after that happened, they showed Ray Borg, and he had his glasses on, and he appeared to be fine. And he said that was absolutely the case. And just for the record, Nedim, you can probably speak to this. You wear glasses. Are they shields for your eyeballs? Or can things still poke your eyes and get in there?
Let me tell you. If things are flying at random angles.
Yes.
Shit will get around your glasses.
Oh, that's crazy.
There's no
See, I thought they were just force fields for your eyeballs. Okay, so all the Ray Borg haters, shut the fuck up. That's the dumbest shit ever. He's got glasses. He was fine in the embedded? Yeah, but you didn't see the moments after.
Let me tell you. For example, I work in a manufacturing environment. I'm an engineer. I work in an auto parts plant. I can't just stroll out into the plant with my regular ass glasses on. That's not safety.
No, you got those stunner shades, don't you? You got the stunner shades.
I gotta put another set of fucking glasses over my glasses.
Glasses on glasses. Yeah.
Exponential glasses.
Yeah.
And that should tell you something. Glasses are not going to protect your eyes 100%.
Yeah.
So all these people claiming Ray Borg is just out for a payday, fuck you.
That's stupid.
Okay, because when you got a window breaking and glass flying in every random direction.
And McGregor launched that damn thing, and he those windows are thicker than normal, automobile windows. Your car or whatever car you drive, those bus windows are a lot thicker, and it didn't go fully through. You know what I mean? So that tells you how thick they are and how much force he used to throw this damn thing. So, yeah, he really screwed the pooch on that one.
Well, and this is where we're going with this. So you've got these two guys who are obviously disgruntled. Side note, shout out UFC. They decided to pay these guys even though they had to pull out of their fights.
That was really awesome.
Shout out Dana White for making that decision.
Shout out to Ariel Helwani trying to get a little bit more for the fighters. He asked Dana White, will that include win bonuses? And Dana's like, sit the fuck down, Ariel. We don't have that much money. That's what he said. He said, we don't have that much money. He's like, motherfucker, I got to get my pennies. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Shout out Ariel Helwani. Always a class act. Always bringing the news. Always, you know what I mean? If there's an example for those of us out here trying to
make it in this field,
on this journalistic journey as far as MMA goes, Ariel Helwani is the example. He is the prototype.
Funny side note about him, and we keep going off on these little side rants, but Ariel Helwani, when I first he's been around as long as MMA's been around. I don't know when exactly he started, but the funny thing is back when I first started getting into it, which was a long time. I've been watching it for a long time, but when I was really into it and I started watching all the after shows and the post conferences, my wife saw Ariel Helwani doing one of these, reports, interviewing one of the fighters, and she's like, "Oh, that's Ariel Helwani." I'm like, "How the hell do you know Ariel Helwani?" And she's like, "Oh, because he does the Hills after show. Do you remember the Hills and Laguna Beach and all those dumbass shows?
Yep,
he did those for MTV too." I'm like, my man's just.
I feel like those were Team Alpha Male's favorite shows, so they've probably known.
Bro, that's where Cody Garbrandt came from.
Is it?
No. It was believable for a minute.
You sold it with the face.
I did.
You did.
If you guys could have seen my face. But no, Conor fucked that up big time. We'll see how this all...
Obviously, already, Chiesa and Borg have filed civil suits against Conor. And I think they have every right to do that.
Yeah.
I think the people coming out, the side window talking about, they're just trying to ride on Conor's coattails and blah, blah, blah. No, motherfucker, no. These guys were on a bus minding their own business.
They're trying to do their job. They're preparing for their job to make money for their families. And yeah, they got paid. But to Ariel's point, what if they won? What if Michael Chiesa went out there and beat Pettis? What if Ray Borg went out and won his fight and got the win bonus? What if they got fight of the night? An extra 50 G's.
Been, with Chiesa and Pettis, if you really think about it, that could have been a nice little brawl.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think they definitely should make it, and I think Chiesa is asking for it in June. So, speaking of June, my God. Cine. Me
UFC
and you.
225.
Who's going to be there?
TRNT at UFC.
Oh, snap. So we just got our tickets last night, and pretty excited. And there's some good fights on that card that's shaping up nicely. And I think they're probably going to announce a couple more. So I'm pumped for that. Did you arrange for our transportation? Did you get the limo, or are we taking the private jet?
I think over to Chicago. I think that's worth hopping on the G6.
The G6, okay.
And,
all right.
and flying over there real quick.
G6 is in my Pontiac G6. I'm just playing. I don't drive that piece of shit car. If you do, I'm sorry. Whoever's listening, if you drive a Pontiac G6, they're cool, but they're gas guzzlers. And
shout out to the Pontiac drivers.
Thanks.
But yeah, we got the arrangements.
Yeah, we got it. Okay.
We got them Conor
We got the
McGregor
lodging
type arrangements.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The Mac Life. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
We're just taking their spot.
Gonna be staying at the Premier Suite there at Trump Tower.
Oh dang.
Fuck Donald Trump though.
Yeah.
But it's a decent hotel.
Decent hotel. Yeah. Decent.
But no, in all reality, shout out my boy Brandon turning 33 here in June. And as a really good way to really announce our presence, to really kick off TRNT, we're headed out to Chicago.
Hell yeah.
To attend that event. Like Brandon said, there's some exciting fights on the horizon. Yeah. We got Robert Whittaker
and
versus Yale.
I love you, man. I love you.
Yeah. Soldier of God, is it?
Soldier of God.
Soldier of God.
I broke my leg.
The most incredibly thick, muscular.
That dude is a monster.
Apparently non-PED taking.
Yeah.
Because he's out here passing the drug test.
Bro, he's 38. He's like 38, 39. That dude, I hope that I can get there by the time I'm 38. I'm not there, but maybe I'll get there. Who knows? Not that tan.
You might have to hop on the peds.
Hop on the peds? All right, get some dick pills. Cool. I got that fight. Who else we got? I think Alistair Overeem's fighting on that card.
Alistair Overeem fought on the last card you went to.
I went
watch,
to.
didn't he? Yeah.
And that's
where he got blasted off into outer space.
I think he made it back finally.
Okay.
He's back, so he's going to try it again with a less scary guy. Okay. It totally escaped me who he's fighting. It's a good fight. Is it Struve? Look that up. And then, we got to give a big old shout out to our, I'll say fellow because I'm an honorary Bosnian, our fellow Bosnian brate, Mirsad Bektic.
Shout out to the boy from, I believe he's out of Iowa.
Oh, yeah.
Mirsad Bektic.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the fellow Bosnian.
He's taking on Ricardo Lamas, which should be a phenomenal fight. I think
versus Lama Red Pajama.
Lama Red Pajama. Nice play on words. I think this is going to be a big test for him, man. I think he's showing promise. He's a promising prospect. He's been putting it all together. He just knocked a dude out by punching him in his fucking solar plex. Like, he's got power. He's young. He's only like 25. Like, this dude has everything. It's starting to click. You can see every fight he's learning from, including that unfortunate fight with Darren Elkins, who it escapes me what team he trains with. Nedim, do you know who Darren Elkins trains with?
I'm not sure.
Oh, he trains with Team Alpha Male. I knew. I just wanted to rub that in a little bit.
You know what? Even more reason to hate Team Alpha Male. Fuck Team Alpha Male. You know what?
That was a sad fight because I was honestly I was rooting for Bektic in that one, and he was dominating, and then just got caught right at the end. Man, it sucked, but I think he learned from it. You can't ever take your foot off the gas. You got to keep going, because these dudes, they get their second wins and their cardio's up there too. So, but this fight with Ricardo Lamas and Bektic is going to be a fun one.
And for a fighter who's 12-1,
yeah,
I really feel like Mirsad is not getting his dues, man. People are sleeping on him.
Yeah.
And I think this Red Pajama fight is going to go a long way if he can pull it off. It'll go a long way towards proving just where Mirsad Bektic can go in this division. Because Ricardo Lamas is no joke.
Yeah.
No joke.
He's no joke. He did. I mean, man, he got knocked out that last fight he had against what's something with an E. Damn, it's escaping me. Man, that was crazy. He got knocked out and his toes went stiff. Like, it was a bad knockout. Josh Ekins? Josh something. Can you find that?
Yeah, I'm just over here trying to work this janky Wi-Fi here at DU. Shout out to DU.
Shout out to DU. Tap City Studios, you mean. Sorry about that. Tap City Studios.
That's
We just started up, so we got the dial up.
We're still working on the logistics.
Yes. No, another fight I'm really looking forward to. They actually moved it because it was in Brazil. My man Colby Covington, a.k.a.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Who the fuck is that guy? Exactly. He's a Conor McGregor wannabe. And he's this dude that's just trash in Brazil. And he's saying some really shitty shit.
Shout out my boy Verdum for the
hit him with the boomerang.
antics.
Bro, did you see the UFC 25-year anniversary dais that they put together with all the fighters? So DC and Stipe were there, and Covington and RDA. Yeah. Did you see what Rafael Dos Anjos was wearing?
No.
His T-shirt was all black and it had a white boomerang on it. I thought that was the best shit ever because RDA's not really a good shit talker.
No.
He's not really.
No,
and I applaud him because, he's one of the Brazilian fighters that does take the time to learn the language. So anybody who speaks a second language, if it's broken English or not, never make fun of that person because, motherfucker, they speak 2 languages. That's right? So Americans get that weird mindset like, oh, why is he talking so weird? Because he speaks another language. So
shout out to Fabricio Verdum again.
Oh,
his
God.
English is very good.
And his Spanish is really good too.
Spanish as well.
I'll give it to you there.
He tried to be Mr. Home Team when he fought
Cain
Velasquez
in Mexico City.
Mexico. That was a little weird. He tried to be Mr. Home Team.
Yeah.
Even though he was fighting,
the brown pride Mexican.
Yeah, a first generation immigrant to the U.S. In Mexico.
So yeah, they moved the RDA and Colby Covington fight from Brazil because they were scared for Colby's safety, obviously, and I would be too. They moved that to Chicago, so we're gonna get to see that fight, and I'm hoping RDA just ragdolls this dude because
I didn't even realize. Let's see what all is confirmed for that card so far. Let's see what we got so far. We obviously got Robert Whittaker and Yoel Romero.
Good fight.
We got RDA and Colby Covington.
Yes.
We got Holly Holm fighting.
Holly Holm, yeah, that's
against, Megan Anderson.
Anderson, yeah.
Should be a pretty good fight. We got Alistair Overeem.
Who's he taking on?
Who will hopefully not get blasted into outer space by Curtis Blades.
Oh, that's right, Curtis Blades. Yep, yeah. That's right.
And then, unfortunately enough, we got CM Punk fighting at UFC.
That's right, and Mike Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a shit show. Cause Mike Jackson used to be like a photographer for UFC or some shit?
I think he still does
some type of photography.
Does a podcast. He does.
Yeah. I mean, no, dude, you're fighting in the UFC now. That's awesome, but I think that's a good matchup because you have 2 kind of inexperienced fighters going after. Mike Jackson just fought Mickey Gall too, and who else we got?
Mike Jackson did fight Mickey Gall, and the interesting thing about that fight
is
the way that it ended.
Oh,
that fight happened to have ended via rear naked choke.
Oh, I love it.
In the 45th second of the very first round.
And Mickey Gall won that, right?
Mickey Gall locked in the rear naked choke.
Shout out to the rear naked choke.
Shout out to Mickey Gall with the rear naked choke.
Yeah.
Which was back in 2016.
Wow.
February of 16.
That's crazy. It feels like yesterday.
Yeah. So my boy Mike Jackson is coming back after 2 years.
Wow. Well, he probably needed some more training. He knew that.
To come up against CM Punk, who I believe last got beat by Mickey Gall.
Mickey Gall, yeah.
So, I guess it's the battle of losers against Mickey Gall.
Yes. Who else we got on this fight card in Chicago? Any more?
As we keep going, this really is an interesting card. We got, in the prelims, we got Joseph Benavidez versus Sergio Pettis.
Wow, that's gonna be a good fight. I've been wondering about Benavidez, man. Like, that's another Team Alpha Male dude. I haven't seen him in a while. You shut your damn trap.
So
Sergio Pettis is my dude, though. That's my dude. They're 125ers.
Yeah, is there a relation there to?
I don't know. Maybe Anthony.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Yeah, there is. He's his little brother. He looks just like him, just miniature.
I thought so.
Yeah.
And then, as we keep going, we've got Claudia Gadelha versus Carla Esparza.
Nice. That's a good fight. Claudia is a monster. Esparza's equally savage, too. That's going to be a great fight.
Real contenders there in the women's strawweight division.
Absolutely.
And I think that'll be a good fight.
Yeah.
That'll be good. As I'm looking this card over, I'm really feeling like we're getting our money's worth.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Or our tax write-offs worth.
There you go.
For these tickets. So
I don't even think it's done yet. I think they have more fights to add.
That's right. And we got a heavyweight matchup between the Pitbull Andre Arlovsky and Tai Tuivasa.
Oh, okay.
Tuivasa?
That's I think he's the Hawaiian dude.
Tuivasa, who is actually 7-0, including 2 wins in the UFC.
Who did he just fight? Do you have that?
He just fought Cyril Asker, and he got a TKO via punches and elbows at UFC 221 back in February of this year.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
In Australia.
Yes. Yep. He's the Hawaiian dude. I think he did what's called a shoey after he won the fight. He took a fan's Adidas Superstar, the old school Run DMC joints.
Okay. The shell toes?
Yes, the shell toes.
Okay.
And then he put a beer in it, and he chugged it out of this other person's shoe. So that was really cool of him to do that.
Okay. I feel like that guy might not ever wear that shoe again, but he might keep it for a while.
That's disgusting.
Especially if Tuivasa continues on this tear. Like I said, young kid, 25 years old from Australia, 7-0 so far. 2 wins in the UFC. Coming right along, and, they put him up against Arlovsky, who obviously has name recognition.
Oh, yeah.
The guy's a legend. He's been around forever. But, his results of late have been kind of mixed. He has won his last 2 fights. He won via unanimous decision against Stefan Struve.
Yep.
He won against Junior Albini. But before that,
he lost to
Stipe.
Stipe.
Had 5 losses in a row.
Yeah, he was on a skid. He was definitely
on a real skid. He had lost to Stipe first, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
He lost to Overeem.
Yeah.
He lost to Josh Barnett. He lost to Francis Ngannou.
But these aren't no slouches, man. That division there's a reason they call the champion of that division the baddest man on the planet.
Absolutely.
Because there's really any of those dudes can catch you with one and put your fucking lights out. You know what I mean? So Stipe, man, I think obviously he's been the most dominant champion that the heavyweight division has ever seen. So I'm rooting for him. I like DC.
Well, and you had this whole situation where Ngannou was getting so hyped.
Oh, he was big hype train. Yeah.
I mean? He like I said, shout out Ngannou for the Overeem fight. He hit Overeem with that uppercut from absolute hell. He sent him into orbit. But
no, his soul left his body.
Absolutely. I don't even know why Overeem is considering fighting it.
There's literally no analogy that could. I was there for that, and I heard the punch live. You can hear punches really good, but this was no punch. It was deafening. It was the craziest shit I've ever seen live. It was like something out of Street Fighter.
But I think that what we learned once Ngannou came up against Miocic is that Ngannou should probably just go into boxing.
Yeah.
He probably should.
Yeah.
And even in some of his interviews and some of his, some of the media with him and as is evident by his his fighting style, this guy really only cares about boxing.
Yeah.
And that's obviously why Miocic was able to dominate him. Because on top of the fact that Miocic is, of his own right, a very good boxer, Golden Gloves champion, and so on and so forth, he has other dimensions to him as well. I think
there's a lot of fighters that are in that same mindset as Francis. I'm just going to call him Francis. Ngannou. There you go. There's a lot of people in his same mindset, but And it could work, right? Because I mean, it's like Vitor. You know, if you get Vitor out of the first round, you pretty much have him beat. That was kind of his stigma. So with Francis, it's like, you know, you got to figure out a way to beat the bad guy at the end of the game, and all you got to do is just wrestle him a little bit, you know, throw him around, and then everything starts falling apart. His cardio's not really that great, so take him into the later rounds, and he's going to have problems.
Vitor, I believe at UFC 224.
Lyoto Machida, right?
Him and Lyoto Machida.
It's so weird. I don't know how I feel about that matchup.
Him and Lyoto Machida in the battle of the Brazilian guys that probably should have rode off into the sunset by now.
I think it's both their retirement fights. It should be. If it's not, it should be both their retirement fights. Like, no matter win, lose, or draw, they should both stick around in the cage and give their speeches at the same time and walk off.
But also, just to polish off this UFC 225 card.
Yeah.
We also got Rashad Evans coming back.
What? I didn't see that.
Yeah, we got Rashad Evans fighting Anthony Smith. Which...
we don't know him.
Yeah.
That's what Rashad has been deduced to now, is fighting these... He's pretty much like a gatekeeper now.
He is.
It's unfortunate. He's another one that maybe should hang it up pretty soon. Honestly, man, he has not been looking that great lately. And he's always... is that at 205 or is that at 185?
It's at 205.
See, he's moving back up to light heavyweight.
Yeah.
When these dudes start bouncing around back and forth, it's like, dude...
when you look at, you know, Sugar's record, 4 losses in a row.
Yeah.
The last 2, Sam Alvey and Daniel Kelly.
Yeah, Sam Kelly, he's pretty good. Smiling Sam, he's pretty good. The other guy, yeah, he was just kind of like I'd never heard of him before. I mean, maybe he's got some fight experience, but that fight, Rashad looked really bad in. I remember it, and I'm like, wow. You know, anytime I see one of the used to be headline guys getting beat by these up-and-comers with
put it this way.
generic names.
Let's put it this way. The last time Rashad Evans won a fight was half a decade ago against Chael Sonnen at UFC 167.
That was terrible.
That was the last time he won a fight.
Wow.
I think this is another example of a guy that should have rode off into the sunset.
For sure.
He's 38 years old.
Yeah, it's time, man. Any more fights on that card? Is that it?
We got obviously we got Lama Red Pajama against my boy Mirsad Bektic.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mirsad Bektic.
One more.
Then we got Rashad Coulter versus Alan Crowder at heavyweight. Not real familiar with those guys.
No, me neither.
They ain't even got Wikipedia articles.
Oh, damn.
Step your game up. Y'all are obviously just in the miscellaneous section right now. Maybe a win in this fight will help one of y'all out.
Catapult you into the Wikipedia. Yeah.
Shout out to Rashad and Alan.
Yes.
I suppose. And then to cap it off, we got Mike Santiago versus Dan Iggy Azalea. 26-year-old from Hawaii.
There you go. Okay.
So.
Those Hawaii dudes, man. Game bred. My man, Max Holloway. Damn. I don't want to get off on too much of a tangent here, but man, oh man, was I excited about Holloway and fucking Khabib. That's a fight to make, man.
That is a fight to make. When we sit here and we talk about what's next for Khabib, blah, 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 you start throwing these bullshit guys at him.
Bullshit guys. You know, these Burger Kings.
Yeah, you know, you start throwing guys like Dustin Poirier, who he's obviously just going to drag to the ground and beat the dog shit out of. No. I think that the UFC has a great answer to Khabib right there under their nose.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it wasn't able to work out for UFC 223. The strange New York State Athletic Commission saw what Holloway looked like when he got down to 160. They didn't like what they had to see, and as a result, pulled him off the card. So they robbed us. They robbed us of that fight. Astaghfirullah. They ought to be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah.
New York State Athletic Commission, absolute garbage.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion. Exceedingly humble opinion.
I think they did better this time around, and I think they were really looking out for, fighter safety and things like that. In the past, yeah, the Madison Square Garden card, they did some really hokey shit, but I don't know. I mean, Holloway said he wasn't that far off, and he was there, but
Holloway was game. Holloway took the fight on 6 days' notice.
6 days.
Super
Flew over.
confident that he'd be able to make weight and everything else like that.
Yeah.
I think that is the fight to make.
That'd be a good one. Unfortunately, we got Holloway and T-City, Brian Ortega. I think that's going to be a phenomenal fight.
Say unfortunately, but really when you look at it, I think that is going to be a great service to the viewing public.
So here's a scenario that I think would be super fucking awesome. So you have Brian Ortega and Max Holloway fighting, I believe, in July. He said Holloway said he's eyeing a July return. So hopefully that happens in July. Obviously, I don't think Khabib's going to fight anytime before that. So let's say Max Holloway wins, still the featherweight champion. Khabib will still be the lightweight champion. Let's go ahead and make this for quarter 4.
That sets us up for a beautiful fight.
And then imagine this. Imagine Holloway does beat Khabib. Now he's the two weight division champ, featherweight and lightweight. And then Conor McGregor comes back, and there's that inevitable
champ
rematch.
Versus champ.
Wow. Imagine the marketing push behind that. Holy shit. That'd be huge.
And what's real interesting is, in that situation, if you were to have Holloway fighting McGregor, and Holloway was to win,
oh wow,
there's already a loss on Holloway's record against McGregor.
Mm-hmm. So that'd have to be a rubber match.
A rubber match guarantees us a third fight. Or let's go down a different road. Let's say Holloway loses to T-City.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, this might also be the answer to beating Khabib. Because what is T-City? T-City is a guy that trains with Henry Gracie.
Mm-hmm. Jiu-jitsu.
T-City is an elite jiu-jitsu player. And I, for the life of me, can't figure out how Khabib hasn't ran into one of those yet.
Wow.
And I can't fathom how somebody hasn't taken Khabib to the ground or, allowed Khabib to take them to the ground, because BJJ guys are just fine off their back.
Oh, yeah.
He'll hit you with that nice little triangle.
Yeah.
And you'll go to sleep.
Sleep.
So
no,
really,
it's funny you mentioned that, because Joe Rogan was actually just criticized for his commentary on the Khabib and Iaquinta fight. And I thought his fucking commentating was spot on. Sometimes Joe Rogan goes a little off the handles and he's like, this is the greatest comeback ever. And you're like, calm your tits, Joe. It's not that serious right now.
Shout out to Joe Rogan, my fellow Chrome Dome.
Yes. Chrome Dome. But no, he was just talking and basically saying, wow, I see holes in Khabib's game. And I absolutely do too. Dude, he had my man's back for like the whole round and didn't know what to do.
To capitalize, rather.
He
couldn't lock in the...
nothing. He couldn't even get the leg lock in.
But he had my man's back and he couldn't lock in the...
the
rear naked choke.
Oh, that one. Okay. Yeah.
We are not fans on this show of people who can't figure out how to lock in the rear naked choke.
Yeah.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is the rear naked truth.